We all have dreams. Dream home renovations, dream vacations, or sending our kids to their dream colleges. But finding straightforward ways to turn those dreams into realistic goals, that's where things get tricky. Merrill understands that. That's why, with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. And having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill is with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or DSW.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And this is Sister Wives Season 13, Episode 3, Kody Wants Out.
If Kody wants out, this is before the wives wanted out. So this is Kody setting the trend here. How soon did I want out, though, in this episode?
This felt like it was 5 hours long.
This was like a lot of episodes smashed together because with the wedding venue hunt, it becomes an episode of House Hunters that gets dropped into the middle of this whole charade.
I don't really understand why they gave Sister Wives a 2-hour time slot at some point, but it was at the point in the series where they really didn't have a lot of content. And you can tell with the amount of times they have to shift the episode focus that it's very disjointed and it feels like you're watching, like you said, multiple episodes shoved into one.
And it's not even set up in a way where we could split these out into like an A and a B for the first 45 minutes and the second 45 minutes, because the House Hunters episode started about 33 minutes into this episode.
Which I thought we were like to the last, 20 minutes.
Nope. Yeah, that would be for a regular episode, maybe.
It was not great. But tell us about the episode, Corey.
The TLC description is Mitch and Aspyn announce their engagement and the race is on to find a venue. Then the whole family goes to Utah to help with the official opening of Meri's bed and breakfast. Kody drops a hint of some major changes ahead. Spoilers all over the place on that.
I feel like more happened than that, but...
Oh, yeah, because it was a lot of time. We had a lot of time invested in this. What is the Carly episode rewrite description for this one?
Mitch finally proposes to Aspyn after a lengthy 9-month courtship. Kody demands a doctor with less yucky surgery energy. Then Kody cuts the ribbon at Meri's B&B opening and is inspired to run for office in the unfriendliest state in the union.
The dangerous aspiration.
Living on the edge.
The nuts edge.
The nuts, taking it to the nuts edge.
My goodness. I couldn't believe how much Kody there was in this episode. This was
It was a lot.
Forced Kody perspective that I'm not used to.
Shall we do some quick announcements?
Yeah, so as it turns out, a little something came up this week.
We have a little schedule update. Next week, we will be releasing an episode from the Patreon, and then we will be getting back into our Sister Wives rewatch after that.
Something came up, so yeah, we got a little scheduling change, a little detour here as part of the rewatch. So just a heads up on that. Also, we're at that point in the off season where everybody starts suspecting that Sister Wives is canceled for the 18th time. Because
literally every season.
Every season. We always come around to that part of the off season where it's been 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, and everyone assumes Sister Wives is never coming back ever again. It's left on the cutting room floor, and TLC wants nothing to do with it forever. But that's not usually the case because it keeps coming back every fucking season.
Well, it won't be coming back at least until the end of the summer is what it looks like, because TLC announced they have a new show that's going to be starting on July 21st. That's after MILF Manor ends.
So that's filling the gap in the schedule on Sunday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern time, which is the normal Sister Wives time slot.
And this show is going to be called Forbidden Love.
Which actually looks pretty intriguing.
It is.
Based on the preview.
There are going to be multiple couples who are deeply in love, but must come to terms with one major hurdle complicating their relationships. Religion.
Oh, it's mostly religion-based?
That's the whole concept of the show.
Okay, great. I was going to say, it sounds like 90 Days Simplified.
No visas.
Yeah, no immigration status or green cards to worry about here. Just whatever big drama storyline they've thought up.
So if that's going to start basically at the end of July, I would expect it will run through at least the end of August.
Yeah, you got to think with these types of shows, anywhere between 6 to 10 episodes for the first season. Usually 6 to 8 window.
Sometimes 12 if they're lucky.
Yeah, that'd be pushing it, though.
So it's hard to know, but it could have it could be a little run, or it could be a little longer than that. But it absolutely means that it's not the next thing coming back onto TLC at 10 p.m. on Sunday nights.
Yeah, I think we would be safe to say nothing before August at this point.
And that is what we know.
Just a reminder, if you're liking the podcast, if you like what you're hearing, you can always go over to patreon.com/survivingpod, where you can check out access to all of our episode recaps, seasons 1 through... You are going on.
It's through 18. It's all the seasons.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically they're all on there. The public feed has 14 through 18, and then, yeah, we're working our way through the rewatch, which is now 1 through 12. But just like Kody doesn't know the age of his children, I am losing track of the number of seasons we have on the rewatch.
To the episode. Ooh, should I bring it back? Let's get the pony in the water.
Oh.
I feel like I haven't said that in a very long time.
Yeah, it has been a while, huh?
It was heartwarming.
That felt like it was a rewatch specific thing that we've been saying. So yeah, we haven't done that in a while. But we get kind of a false start to the episode because we have Kody teeing up some B&B storyline with all of his personal input on that entire debacle, but for nothing.
Maybe that's why this felt so long, because the literal first thing he talks about is that it's Meri's B&B opening. And that's the last scene in the entire episode.
It's the last 25 minutes of the show. And we're not going to see it for any time in between now and then. It was mostly just Kody complaining about how Meri's been such a source of drama. She's been such a thorn in the family side this whole time.
It was a whole monologue just about how terrible this whole experience has been, and the fact that it's been so horrible because Meri's been so aloof with us.
But you know, the gem, the hidden jewel in this entire experience of Meri's suffering here with the B&B is that it's just reminded Kody about how bad he wants to move back to Utah.
Meri moving back to Utah made me want to move back to Utah.
I mean, even though I know she's not moving back, but like it's, she has a business there. It's a house that you would live in. So it makes me want to live in Utah. But again, it's the projection of the family. Again, another great example of that, where they all accuse Meri of wanting to escape to this house in Utah. And that's why you bought it. But no, actually that's Kody's secret
dream.
Desire. Yeah, that's what he wants. It's because they're all putting it on Meri as this horrible thing that she's planning and plotting against them. But that's not even what we're here for.
No, first, let's focus on Mitch and Aspyn.
We got to shift gears and learn a little bit more about Mitch and Aspyn, because Mitch has probably a solid 5 minutes of screen time so far in the series.
I forgot that they even introduced him.
They shoehorned him in at the end of, it was the season 12 finale. when they were like, yeah, there's this guy Mitch around here now. Just
it's because he already proposed, like in real time. So as they were editing the episode, they were like, we're going to have to introduce Mitch because it's going to be a big part of next season.
We should probably sprinkle in some Mitch. So now we're getting a heavy heaping dose of Mitch.
Ooh. I don't think I liked that.
No? Was it the double H? Heavy heaping?
I did notice there was a lot of Tony and McKelty missing from this episode, and
which I'm okay with.
Yeah, well, the heaping dose made me think, like, we were missing somebody.
Spoonful of something.
They have been dating long distance, very, very long distance.
So long.
From Utah to Vegas for 9 whole months now.
Which is why the family is so concerned about Meri's business being in Utah. Long distance. Hours, multiple hours of driving.
You know what they're not concerned about, though? Them getting engaged too early. That's not a worry here. They're not getting the same issue and pushback from Christine that they did when it was Tony McKelty.
I noticed that. And then the family was actually complaining in a few parts about how slow things are moving and progressing with Mitch and Aspyn. So it made me think maybe the pace car that was set of Tony and McKelty has just permanently fractured this family's
You think they reestablished their benchmarks?
Assessment of, what a proper amount of courting and engagement time periods and time frames actually looks like.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that make Mitch a little different from Tony. One of them is that he comes from a polygamous family.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's Scottish. That's one.
Okay, that too.
That's a pretty big one.
I think that's a big part of his personality, we'll learn.
It is. Yeah. Becomes very apparent.
So they've been dating long distance, but they're not going to be doing that anymore. Because Mitch is moving in with Caleb and Maddie, which was very confusing because at first I thought he was moving here to live with Aspyn.
Well, I mean...
like to move in with Aspyn.
Well, no, he was moving to be closer to Aspyn, so...
He was just moving in. He's becoming enmeshed with the Browns by moving in with Maddie and Caleb.
Well, once you start mixing some stuff into these storage containers here...
you're here forever.
You're in the family now. There is no backing out.
They like him. They like him a lot. But they've also known him and his family for like 9 years. That is fucking forever to these people.
Yeah. Well, and I got a little bit nervous at first when they said, well, yeah, Aspyn first met Mitch when she was 13. And for a second I was like, well, and I guess Caleb missed his shot. So too old for him by that time. So... now you're left with nothing but Mitch. No, Mitch was in high school. Aspyn was 13 years old in junior high. It sounds weird in that context.
He's a few years older.
He's a few years older. That's all you
Not
need
a decade older.
Maybe, yeah. And like, it's better. What I'm trying to get at, it's better than the Caleb and Maddie situation.
Well, all of this is better. He's a more appropriate age, and he's from a polygamous background. So he's got one up on Caleb and on Tony.
So that's why they're in a rush for this guy to marry into this family. The sooner we can get him locked in here, the better. Because Kody loves Mitch. Well, kind of. He's a good guy, according to Kody.
He doesn't love Mitch quite as much as he loves Caleb, or in the same way.
I don't think that there could be any sort of love that could match that energy. But Kody is singing the praises about how great Aspyn is, and it's great that she found a great guy.
He said some very lovely, sweet things about Aspyn, and I wish that we could find that energy, we can muster that back up, and bring it into season 19.
None of which he would ever tell her to her face, I'm sure. Never.
They're talking Mitch up, too, though. He is a man of many talents and special interests. He knows how to ride a unicycle. He has packed it. He has brought it all the way here to Vegas. I do like that he has a backup plan. He has a way to support Aspyn. He will live the carny life if he has to.
Yeah, he might sign up for a Cirque du Soleil show or two that he would have to be a part of. Perhaps. They're in town.
Nope. Okay.
Carly was under the impression for quite some time that Cirque du Soleil was actually Circus Olay. Different name.
Look, if you've never seen it written out, it's hard to know. People say it fast.
How fast? I don't know how fast. That's different. But no, we've got a pink elephant in the room to address here, not just pronunciation of Cirque du Soleil. There's an engagement about. You sniffing that out? You get that feeling? That's how perceptive Kody is with what's going on with his children. I wonder what the clue was. Was it unpacking Mitch's unicycle in the cul-de-sac and dropping some of the stuff off in the many trailers that you have littered around the cul-de-sac?
Well, they're looking at the calendar because Aspyn has expressed wanting a June wedding. And we're what? Just a little over 6 months away, maybe?
Clock's ticking. I guess this is our first actual assessment of Mitch. And it feels like the fandom wasn't really that fond of Mitch initially, but then he has grown in favor as the years have gone on. My initial read of him was pretty okay.
He's a little potato.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just there's not much to go off of right now.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of one of my friends in real life, so there is already that initial connection point where I
You have a fondness.
a baseline level of trust that I've granted him.
What about your shared Scottish heritage?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always right in there, too. Can trust a Scotsman, a fellow Scotsman.
Corey will not admit how much of his DNA is Scottish and not Irish.
Well, I think I prefer to connect with the Irish amount that's in there.
0%.
There's not zero.
There's zero. There was it? I'm pretty sure it's 0%.
No, it's in there. It's in there.
Nope. No, it's not.
It was a little bit. It's a little mixed in.
Nope. You keep thinking that. You keep thinking that.
It's a little bit in there.
It's in the whiskey, I guess. Different kind of
Where it
whiskey.
starts.
I know. Please do not
Yeah, I
send
know.
messages.
We know. I feel like there was a lot of the ISO interviews that were being utilized for dramatic emphasis, where Aspyn's reactions to what Mitch was saying, she's very expressive, and they were able to utilize a lot of cutting to those close-ups for reactions.
Do you want to go just right to that conversation? I feel like there was little in between. I thought you were talking about Kody's interview on the couch, where he's talking about his approval of them not living together before they get married. And then he said something, Rich. We have to understand that she's an adult and he has to let her make her own decisions. Since when do we let adult brown children make their own decisions?
Well, yeah, it doesn't age well. And how much things change in just a couple of seasons.
Oh, the other couch before we get into this conversation. Well, it's related to the conversation of polygamy.
Yeah.
So Kody and the wives are sitting on the couch talking about the fact that Mitch is from a polygamous family. Will they live plural marriage? And Kody speculates that he doesn't see that happening now that Aspyn has fallen in love. And Robin's face, she reacted hard to him saying that. Nobody else really clocked it, but she looked horrified that he would connect love with monogamy.
And yeah, not pursuing polygamy because there is love.
But like you said, I think this is what turned people off to him because we're 7 minutes into the episode and now they start talking about what their opinions are. And Mitch is open to plural marriage and Aspyn is totally not.
Yeah, and Mitch is very clear with the fact that they've talked about it. They've discussed it, but it's not something that they would actively pursue. And Mitch made mention of extenuating circumstances that could push him into having a larger interest for polygamy, but he didn't really expand on what those reasons are.
The look that I felt Aspyn had on her face was one of complete nervousness of how this man was going to react to the questions that the producers were asking.
But then it always ends up with a little smile and reassurance at the end where it was like, yeah,
a little wink and a nod.
We were and we were on the same page for that one. Look at that. Good. Yeah. It's like being on the newlywed game and your answer matches what she wrote on her board while you were backstage wearing the soundproof headphones.
But it still gave the vibe that they weren't on the same page because of the fact that he was still open to something that she was totally closed off to.
And that's fine. That's a difference of opinions where he could be open to it, but not pushing for it. I think that's the difference, is that making the assumption that, oh, if Mitch is for it, that means he wants it and that they're going to do that.
Okay. Or I think maybe also the producers kept probing and asking questions that maybe they hadn't even really talked about that deeply.
That was where I felt like Aspyn's facial reactions were really kicking into overdrive, because it felt like Mitch kept talking about it, where he just kept going with different answers and different variations of the answer. And she was getting more and more nervous every time he brought it up. So it was like, is this going to work out? She's used to hearing Kody answers where he starts saying something and then he kind of rambles off and then goes into a very different place.
And we end in a different spot than we started.
Talks about 5 other things on the way there that we just gloss over, don't even mention again, but we're just dropping bombs left and right. It's a little bit like that.
Well, we're going to leave them there, and it is time to pick back up on Isabel's scoliosis journey.
Oh, man. Now, this storyline is really starting to heat up, and we're talking some shit about Dr. Camp, the only reputable doctor that they've interacted with in this entire scoliosis journey, and that's the guy. As soon as we saw the preview, when Kody was bitching about this in the kitchen, I knew that he was going to say, the curve keeps getting worse every time we go to Dr. Camp. I don't want to go to Dr. Camp anymore. Like it's Dr. Camp's fault that her curve is getting worse.
No, I'm sorry. It's Dr. Camp's opinion that her curve is getting worse. It's not a fact.
Actually, it's Isabel's fault because she's not doing her exercises.
Right.
I forgot.
So it's been 6 months. She has to go twice a year to get a checkup to measure her curve. And like you said, Kody already not interested in going for this visit. Christine also is not looking forward to it because she feels like when she's looking at Isabel's back, it appears as though maybe her curve has gotten worse.
So Christine's outlook is negative going into this one. Cody's already talking about preemptively, if there's any mention of surgery at this appointment, I don't want to hear it. Kody is 100% against surgery unless this threatens Isabel's life.
I think he's a little confused also about the whole point of the appointments because they are monitoring her curve. It's at 42 degrees. That's what it was last time they went. Once it hits 50, she needs surgery. It's only a matter of time. So, of course, every time you go, you're talking about surgery. It's just how soon is that surgery going to occur? He has not fully wrapped his head around that.
No, because that's just Dr. Camp's rhetoric, is surgery, as Kody has deemed this, and that's what he's gleaned from all of these medical interactions with Dr. Camp. He's confusing that with medical science, though, which is tracking and documenting and then comparing with where were we last time versus where are we today.
I was alarmed by the fact that no one ever spoke about the possibility that Isabel would potentially be in pain at some point. Instead, they spoke about this as though it was just a superficial thing.
Yeah, and where it's just, it's your self-confidence. It's an image thing about how this looks. Not that it has a debilitating impact on your life due to the fact that you have pain constantly.
So it seems like maybe she's not at that point yet, but she's definitely at the point that it's affecting her self-esteem. She doesn't like the way she looks in the mirror. She doesn't want to wear certain clothes. She doesn't want people to see her back. He doesn't care about that.
Cody's at the point where he doesn't even want to go to these to monitor what the curvature is anymore because he doesn't want to be sold the idea of surgery.
Even though they have personally met multiple people who have had this surgery themselves and have talked about how it has improved their quality of life. He knows that. He states that. He doesn't care. He negates that.
Well, I feel like, this is where he had mentioned that Christine has kind of turned where she is in favor of the surgery and Kody is still staunchly against it because, as we know, the only thing that Kody is afraid of is poverty. And he's still paying for Truly's touch of flu visit that happened a couple years back. And that,
I think he's seeing dollar signs.
I think just the verbiage that he was using, he didn't want to be sold surgery because that's the agenda that this doctor pushes on him, is that he's trying to make a buck on surgery.
I can see it.
It's amazing how the people who are saying, hey, this is something that you're going to need to keep an eye on, this is going to be something that you'll need to address, are the people that he thinks are charlatans who are trying to take advantage of him, yet they'll whisk her off to that weird clinic in Michigan where they're coming up with imaginary numbers and telling her that her stretches improved her curve by 10%, even though it didn't really, because the numbers could be up to 15% wrong, 15 degrees on or off, maybe, roughly. No, those people are telling me the truth because they're telling me what I want to hear. Dr. Camp, with all his numbers and the science and the x-rays, this dude's a quack.
He's too negative.
He has no idea what he's talking about, and he just wants to make $1 on surgery.
I didn't like how worked up they got talking about this and speculating about how the appointment was going to go. And then they had Isabel come in and did the same thing with her.
Well, yeah, and the minimization that was happening that Kody was saying too, the risks of the surgery outweigh the benefits for him in his mind. But he's not checking with Isabel to see what is she feeling.
Well, I don't think that's a conversation you have with a child.
For the surgery at this point?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you're just going to scare her. Of course she's going to be scared the more he talked negatively about surgery. She's the one getting the surgery. Nobody wants to get surgery.
And that's what, he's talking about it as this barbaric procedure that's going to leave her permanently deformed by putting a steel rod in her back.
Well, she won't be pretty anymore, Corey.
Right. Well, I mean, so that's his concern. And also, he's minimizing the fact of, whatever self-confidence issues she has for wearing the day brace or not being able to wear clothes that are form-fitting. That's not something she's supposed to be doing anyway, because modest is hottest. We already established that multiple times throughout the series. It's just crazy how Christine and Gwen, because Gwen was in the kitchen too, had to chime in. Her self-confidence is probably a big part of this too, a big factor to take into consideration. It's like a mental health component, and Kody cannot grasp that situation. Does not know why that would even be a factor. Yeah, so she might feel really weird about her body for a couple years in high school. Who doesn't?
I don't think that he has ever lacked self-confidence. If anything, he has the opposite problem. Too much self-confidence.
He's overcalculating, that's for sure. The parts that grossed me out, though, were when Isabel was promising Kody that she would not be getting surgery.
Yeah, I know.
Because that was when Christine had said Isabel is wanting surgery now because she's in pain and she does not feel comfortable in her own body, in her own skin. So that is why we are leaning towards that as the solution, because based on the curvature and how that's progressing, surgery seems like the end point here that we're going to have to get to. But to look Kody in the eye and promise him, Isabel has to do the reassuring to Kody in this situation. That was kind of messed up for me.
I didn't like the attachment of, don't worry, I'll do my exercises, because she's only been doing them 80% of the time, which is a D, according to Kody.
Which is D and where? 80%? That's like B minus C plus.
It's unfair that this is something that is beyond her control, that she has scoliosis. And now you're putting it on her for it to be her responsibility to fix, because you don't want to come to terms with reality of what it's actually going to take to change the situation.
When all he needed to do was open a savings account and just drop a couple bucks in there, so then that way we could save up for this surgery, get some healthcare going, get all that situated. Maybe it's time to legally divorce Robin and legally marry Christine so we can get Isabel some healthcare coverage here for that.
This is season 13 of this show. How do you haven't obtained health insurance for your children at this point? And look, that is easier said than done in America.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
But they know that they're in a situation where they're going to have insurance to deal with this.
Specifically for this one child, I think it would be very, very important to go through that process.
Well, but Dayton, he had to get plastic surgery so that his eye looks better. So we got to keep the insurance over there. Cosmetic surgery.
Just in case. What, does he have some follow-up scheduled or that I wasn't aware of? I'm not sure.
We're going to have to share this good news with the family. So we have everyone gathered over at Robin's house. We got Mitch. We got Grandma Cheryl. It's time for family announcements. And thank God none of the adults are making them today. So Isabel tells them good news about her braces. She's got her braces off, in addition to the good news about how her curvature has not changed.
Oh, yes.
So it's been a big week for Isabel.
That's the official word back from Dr. Camp after the scans and all of the alleged doctoring that took place, according to Kody.
Oh, I just skipped over that, didn't I?
I mean,
the appointment went well.
Well, here's the thing.
It was totally the opposite of everything that they thought it would be.
Why this was a 2-hour episode was because we could have just cut that part out and just gone to the announcement.
Just tell us how it turned out.
Tell us how it turned
Especially
out.
it was anticlimactic.
There wasn't really much else that happened here, and it was pretty much a null storyline there.
Well, that's not really the point of why they gathered everyone together anyway. It's because Aspyn and Mitch are engaged.
Aha, yes, there's the big announcement.
Isn't it great to get engaged and then get met with the reaction of finally?
I think with Aurora bopping over to get involved in the group hug, I think that was the uncomfortable part for me.
The most uncomfortable, because there's like a group hug situation going on, and she comes from the total other side of the room and just jumps on the back.
Had to be a part of it, and so, yeah, it's just...
like hanging off of the back of someone.
Yes, not involved in the actual
really.
hug, really. Not really, but just needs to be a part of it. So, like, has to gravitate over there. Oh, the other sad part broke my heart on this episode. We saw Garrison playing with Ari and Saul in the living room. It was such a sweet moment, though, of seeing that. But at the same time, still broke my heart a little bit.
It was sad, but like you said, also heartwarming.
Yeah.
At the same time.
It was a good scene to see him in.
I am thankful that they filmed this in Robin's kitchen because we have an amazing view of her calendar over Aspyn's shoulder. And we can see everything that she's been up to. She is a busy, busy lady. She is getting a massage, a haircut. She's got time scheduled to work out. She's got a few weeks where she's filming.
See, I wasn't sure if there was like a color-coded structure where there was a different marker for each person in the house where things that were going on. It seemed like the way that you could decipher what was something for Robin was if it was after 12 p.m. noon, that was probably something for Robin. Because there was like workout, 7:45 a.m.
I don't think that's her.
I don't know. That's not our girl. So 12:30 massage, yeah.
She did have a 12 p.m. workout.
Yep. So that would be an afternoon one.
On her lunch break.
I guess we could give her credit for that, even though she doesn't strike me as the fundamental fitness type.
Hi, this is Christopher Kimball from Milk Street Radio. I often shop at Whole Foods Market since they sell the kind of food I like. Organic vegetables, a great meat counter, and of course a great staff. For Thanksgiving, Whole Foods offers brine turkeys, as well as a spiral-cut bone-in ham. The Whole Foods Market Bakery has a large assortment of pies, even a vegan pumpkin pie, or grab some brioche and butterflake rolls for the table as well. Or you can ask the Whole Foods team to cater your meal for you, including the bird, the sides, and desserts. Get your holiday party started at Whole Foods Market.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Cue the fireplace and your favorite fall movie. There's nothing better than a cozy evening at home with a glass of First Leaf wine. First Leaf is a personalized wine club that delivers right to your door. Sounds magical, right? They get to know your favorite tasting notes, which varietals you enjoy, and whether you prefer sweet or dry wines. So in every shipment, you get bottles tailored to your unique palate. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/fall to get your first 6 wines for just $44.95 with free shipping.
Bombas presents unsolicited gifting advice. Number 1, if they say not to get them anything, get them something. 2, underwear is a great gift, just not for your boss. And 3, those absurdly soft Bombas socks and slippers you've been eyeing for yourself, they'll love those. And the fact that for every item you purchase, another is donated to someone who needs it, they'll love that even more.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
Holiday magic is in the air, and DSW's got all the shoes to make your season extra merry. Believe, you've got parties to attend and lists to check twice, so DSW is taking care of the details, like gifts to make their eyes all aglow, styles that bring joy to your world, brands everyone wants, like UGG, Nike, Birkenstock, and more, and deals to make your budget bright. Find the perfect shoes for you and yours at a DSW store near you or DSW.com.
All right, back to this wedding thing. They're just starting to think about where the wedding's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be in Utah. Of course it is, because Mitch has a family of like 1,000 people, and that's where they live. And that's also where most of your family and friends live.
Yeah, don't complain too much. And stop calling Salt Lake, Utah a destination wedding.
That was weird.
It's not.
It's not a destination wedding.
It's you have to travel because you don't live in Utah anymore, but everybody else who you're inviting does. So it's not a destination wedding. That's not how that works.
Kody gets so worked up on the couch when they start teasing him about this whole thing, and it's his fault that they have to go all these other places for these weddings because he's made them move so much.
We've lived in like 18 different states at this point.
The only one he remembers, though, is the move from Utah. They kicked him out. That was not a voluntary move, so don't put that on me.
Don't blame me. Lehigh was home, but Vegas is exile. I know you're all just teasing me, but it's not funny. I think it's a little funny.
It's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
Also funny because he forgot of like the 24 other moves that they had
many
leading up to moving to Lehigh.
Didn't even mention Wyoming. Why for Wyoming? Never forget.
We get their engagement story, which happened in Seattle, which is where Mitch's mom lives.
They had to cut to Meri because there was a nice connection there, too.
Meri has had fond times in Seattle.
Fun times with Leon and Audrey. They went to a gay bar, and that was where Meri blackmailed Leon to talk to some of Meri's catfishing friends.
Good times. Good memories.
Yeah, that kind of worked out.
Do you want to do the honor of explaining the proposal in the way that Aspyn did?
Well, okay, so we got the overview version from Mitch. We got the guy version from Mitch, where it was just the facts. Pretty much laid out there, as you'd expect, where it happened, when it happened, roughly who was involved. And that was about it. But Maddie needs details. So she's demanding that Aspyn tells what happened, what was said, what exchanges were made. So Aspyn breaks it down for us. And this is where we find out that Mitch took it out during the engagement.
He got down on one knee and he took it out.
He's a tripod. And she said yes so fast, instantly said yes, and was pulling him up to kiss her. So they were kissing and he hadn't even put it in her yet, or on. He hadn't even put it on her, it being the engagement ring.
Aspyn girl, we need to get used to using nouns.
Proper nouns.
Nouns. We're gonna refer to the ring. You don't know how they are going to cut this. You need to be very, very specific.
I will take full advantage. And I did just now.
We get a baby Ari moment. Are these babies just oracles? Is that something that the Brown family babies are born with?
Well, because Truly had granted Christine with the vision.
The sight,
the gift. When Christine was pregnant with Truly. And then I think Truly even had
she made some predictions.
She predicted that Saul was a baby boy. I think she had that one spot on. There was something else too.
We had a couple of instances where baby Truly was making predictions. Now we have baby Ari. And she takes one look at the ring and then she holds a finger up, single finger in the air, and looks at Mitch and Aspyn and says, just one time.
Monogamous Mitch.
Just like mommy. Just one time.
Well, only the one time that counts after the times that don't count anymore for Robin.
We're jumping right into wedding planning. Like you said, this is the point of the episode where we are going to go shopping around, looking at venues, which is so much fun to do in January when everything is covered in snow and ice and you are trying to envision what your outdoor wedding is going to be like in June.
Yeah, did we really need to walk through this garden that's just covered in dead foliage and snow?
Seemed like more of a hazard. Just show me pictures. Take me inside in the warmth, maybe beside a fire.
There was a mysterious tricycle that was in the one shot. I don't know what was going on with this thing.
Well, that just made it creepy.
Yeah, it was a little off-putting. But this is the villa. We have the Godfather music.
Oh, you're skipping straight ahead. Did you catch Janelle?
The villa was the first one.
Did you catch Janelle on the couch as they're teeing this up for us? She was starting to yawn. She's even fucking bored of reliving this day of her life. And they're going to make us watch the whole thing.
It all just blurs together.
But yes, we are going to the villa first. This is place number 1.
They're going to make you an offer you can't refuse. That's what's going to happen.
We're meeting Mitch's mom, Hannah, for the first time. She is there, and she is channeling McKelty's commitment ceremony look.
She's got the hat.
She is the hat lady.
Nice hat.
The Mad Hatter. She constructs hats, and she wears many of them. And this one has got like a top hat feel to it.
Okay.
It felt a little much for the occasion. But you do you, Hannah. Kody's liking it. He's starting to flirt with her.
It wasn't even the hat. Yeah, it was the purse that really caught Kody's attention. So then that was what he's
an accessory man.
Yeah, he likes, touching things up. Just like Garrick.
Garrick. Yeah.
Just like him. But yeah, we are at the villa. We have kind of a Godfather theme going on here. And Kody is worried that this place is going to take him to the cleaners. If you got that.
You just have a lot of mafia jokes.
A little bit. Well, it's just Godfather references. Because Kody's recounting all the weddings so far, line by line, shot for shot, exactly what happened with Maddie's wedding, if you couldn't remember, and McKelty and Tony's wedding, which we were there for all of these weddings. Yes, we do know. But weddings are expensive, so what's this going to cost? I think that's the storyline that they're setting up for everything here.
Well, of course, that's always the biggest question. But Kody's first question, how many people are we going to be inviting? Because we were asked to buy an astronomical amount of tacos last time, so we're going to need to understand what is going on here.
I need to prepare for that.
And unfortunately, we're still talking like 400 people because Mitch has a huge family.
Yeah, and this place, maybe you'll get 150 at most for the ceremony. You can probably have some more for the reception. So maybe this isn't great for the ceremony part of this.
No, and they're basically just paying a fee for the site, and then they have to have all the food catered in. It's sounding expensive, inconvenient, and so it's time to move to the second location.
And this is where Mitch and Aspyn should have just eloped. But Mitch wanted to have his family involved as part of it too. Aspyn's kind of warming up to the idea.
No, she wants to elope.
I think she still wants to
I would have loved that.
I think Aspyn was warming up to the idea of Mitch's family being there, but she's still leery about her family being there.
I think you're right about that.
She just wants it to be their day, because that was very similar with her engagement story. That was the main takeaway. It was very special to her because it was just them, just Mitch and Aspyn. It was their moment that they shared together.
Kody can't even fathom the idea of two people eloping, because why would you not want to be the center of attention on your wedding day?
Does not compute with this man. He does not make any sense of this situation. But did someone say dancing? Did someone mention dancing? It might be time for some dancing, because then Kody, he's going to kick up his flirtation game here with Mitch's mom, Hannah.
There was like a weird energy about that. He tried to make it seem like he was trying to just make her comfortable, but that is not a way that you make a woman comfortable.
By threatening her to dance. I like how Aspyn had to keep repeatedly saying that Kody's charismatic. He's very social and charismatic. Charismatic is probably the word I would use to describe him. He's charismatic. I don't know why she had to say it so many times, but that was what she kept coming back to repeatedly. I think that was like the safest descriptor that she could provide for her father.
A lot of sociopaths are very charismatic.
Yeah, a lot of serial
and narcissists.
killers. And it's not looking good.
The ski lodge, should we go there? Are you ready for it? I don't think I was.
Yeah, the Silver Fork Lodge. It's over by the ski resorts. It's not looking like a wedding reception spot for Aspyn.
It's giving log cabin. It's giving we serve mead. It's giving...
No, mead?
I feel like it was giving a little Ren Fair. A little bit.
Ren Fair?
A little bit for somebody who maybe is looking for an appropriate place where they can have a themed wedding.
It was giving Bennigan's. Carly. That was what it was giving.
I fucking love Bennigan's. If you live near Bennigan's, you are blessed in life.
Ren Fair, not even close.
Okay.
Bennigan's at best. When you have skis attached to the wall and things that just hang off there like Applebee's.
Sorry.
It's different. That is very different. That's not Ren Fair at all.
It was giving Shrek. Shrek wedding.
Shrek wedding?
It would have gone with the Scottish theme.
No.
That's how they got here.
Somebody was totally...
That's how he's going to enter. That's
bust
Mitch.
Out of
there's
here.
no aisle. It's going to bust through the door.
It's just Smash Mouth. That's the walking down the aisle song. But the biggest
Janelle
selling,
loves this place.
I was going to say Janelle is loving it. She's living it up.
It's going to be magical when the seasons change and you can smell the pines outside. Meanwhile, everyone else hates this place. Meri, Robin can't stand to be in here for another moment.
It just seems like it would smell dusty.
Okay.
Like, it seems like it has like the old, stale, dank beer smell.
I feel like it smells like syrup.
It did have a nice dick, though.
It did.
It had a nice big dick out back.
This place is too small. Why are we even talking about it? They couldn't even fit the film crew in here.
And we're at 8,000 foot elevation, which drastically limits Kody's conditioning for dancing. So
that's going to be the real problem.
He's going to have to pencil in some more workouts on Robin's calendar, if you know what I'm saying.
Ooh, what if they're different kinds of workouts?
Oh, yeah, I didn't need to know that. All right, we got one more place to go. Lakai.
Everyone's favorite. Let's just be real. We've seen this place before. This is Quasimodo's bell tower where Kody and Robin were... Kody and Robin.
Whoa, slip of the tongue.
Although I'm sure anywhere Kody has taken Meri, he has also taken Robin beforehand to scope the place out to make sure it was an appropriate place to bring Meri. You know, Robin's reasoning. But they have been here before. This was the place with the peacocks.
Yeah, no peacocks in January, but there are still some ducks around.
Aspyn's afraid to get out of the car because they've pulled up. She already loves it. She knows it's expensive. She's worried it's going to be a problem.
I'm worried about the aisle to the altar being a flight of stairs outside. Stone stairs.
That is terrifying.
That's scary to me.
That's too brave.
I don't
too
think,
brave for
yeah,
me.
I don't think I'd be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to muster that. To know that without fault, I would be able to execute that in one take. I wouldn't trust myself on that.
And there's going to be cameras filming you.
Yeah, very scary.
And I don't think I could do it.
That's scary.
Money triggers his family because Kody needs to make sure the younger girls are going to have money for their weddings too. Equality. That's what we're about in this family. All the women get treated equally.
Can we do equity instead of equality? Again, I will ask for that because if we're going to base this off Maddie's wedding, and that's going to be your baseline price for all weddings moving forward. When did Maddie get married? Was that 2016?
2015?
2015?
Something like that.
So when do you think Ari's going to get married? Like 25 years after that? 30 years after that? Maybe?
I can't do math, so I'm just going to take that.
Okay.
I'm going to trust you on it.
Just inflation alone. If you spend the same amount as what you spent on Maddie's, you're going to be underspending on that.
You're talking about economics that they do not comprehend.
But this is what I'm saying. Now Kody has a number in his head of what a wedding costs for his daughter to get married off.
But does he? Because apparently he doesn't even know what they actually spent on the other weddings.
Clearly, he does not want to know. It's scary.
So they're talking about how much this place is going to cost. It is $15,000 for 100 people. That is your food included, pretty much everything.
Top to bottom, everything handled. That's not bad. $15K for 100 guests. I mean, it's going to add up, but I think they were saying they weren't going to have 400 people total simultaneously for this one.
Right.
It's going to be people kind of flowing in, flowing out.
That's like the catch that also makes this confusing, that it's not 400 people. They're going to need a set place for dinner.
It's not 1,200 tacos.
We're not talking that much.
Yeah, don't count it by number of people. Count it by number of tacos. Then I will be able to understand the pricing structure that you have in place here.
He's already thinking this is going to cost way more than what we spent on the other weddings, and that's starting to upset Aspyn.
Well, and Janelle is like, hey, by the way, we spent $9,000 just in catering for
I'm sorry.
For Maddie's wedding.
Did Maddie not have like some barbecue food at her wedding? I feel like that was a big part of the conversation about the food.
I feel like half the budget was probably that.
It was that cake.
It was that cake.
That fucking deer cake.
The big deer cake.
It had to have been. That is crazy. $9,000 just on the food.
And also, Janelle had to clean up afterwards.
Yeah,
there was not a facility. There was, you had to do it. It was you clean up after yourself type of situation.
And the same thing at McKelty's wedding, where they had to set everything up and then they had to throw out all of those bouquets that they spent 6 years making.
To which Christine has finally made that connection. I think that was the point I was trying to make on some of those episodes, is that even though you're saving money in the wedding planning and the things that are happening with the decorations and the bouquets that you are hand making out of fabric. That's great. You saved on money, but it took you 8 months to do this. So the amount of time that you invested in that project per hour, what do you think that cost savings equated to? Not much. By comparison, you could have been doing a lot of other things that would have been way more constructive.
It seems like all the wives are in the corner of getting this place for Aspyn.
Meri is the unsung hero of this one, too. Again, we will come to her defense because I think she was saying some of the things that she wished the rest of the family would say to her about the B&B, where she was looking Aspyn in the eyes and saying, do you love this place? Do you want this place? Then we'll do whatever it takes to make sure you get it. And that was very good for Aspyn to hear in that moment. But I feel like a lot of that was coming from a place where Meri needed to hear somebody say that to her about the B&B.
She didn't even know. She needed to explore that in therapy.
Maybe she still didn't make that connection. I'm not sure, but I picked up on that pretty quick, where this sounds like something that Meri needs to hear right now, but it is something that she's telling someone. The other thing that Meri's really invested in, the booze.
Well, of course. Kody is not happy about the idea of serving. Well, what was he upset about?
Well, he's
hard
okay.
liquor?
Yeah, he's okay with beer and wine, but he's not a fan of hard alcohol or drunks.
Made me uncomfortable. Obviously.
Well, I mean, yeah, for
obvious reasons.
With recent developments, yes.
I was particularly confused about being against hard alcohol when Mitch is Scottish and this entire wedding is going to be themed around his Scottish heritage, down to the kilts. We're not going to be able to serve whiskey.
Scotch, yeah. Specifically, some scotch.
They're not even talking about that. Aspyn's like, I just want to have a champagne toast.
Because of course
it's
she
classy.
does. Of course she does. Yeah. Hell yeah. Go for it.
But I don't think he's against that.
I don't think Kody understands how alcohol works either, though. Because hard liquor, it's not more powerful alcohol.
We're talking about alcohol by volume.
We're
getting a little complex now.
I'm just saying, if you're okay with beer and wine at 6 to 14% for those things per consumption, then yeah, just make sure that you're not over serving. I think that becomes the emphasis point.
It was until he realized that they could have a cash bar.
Oh, now he's seeing it as a profit center that can fund not only this wedding, but all of his future daughters' weddings.
We're going to increase the prices of these drinks threefold. We're going to come away from this thing making money.
He's a capitalist, and he has the capital.
Did they end up agreeing on this place by the end? I really wasn't clear on that.
Well, I think Aspyn was trying to get a straight answer out of somebody, particularly Kody.
I think that's who she thought had to give her the answer.
A lot of the moms seemed to be on board because they could tell that Mitch and Aspyn were both really, really in love with this place.
You know who didn't say anything? Robin, per usual.
Thought that was interesting because, yeah, it was weird how Kody went right to how he has to think about Ari's wedding budget because she's going to be the last one. And so Robin's like, hey, we got to have something left for my kid. She's going to be the last one out here. Don't spend it all. Save some for me.
Well, maybe she could have gotten married at the B&B.
Yeah, that could have been the one wedding that
almost booked. Almost.
So close. But I think Aspyn was having a really hard time articulating and actually saying out loud that she wants this place for her wedding. And the reason why she was holding back on it was because she was expecting an answer from Kody to say, well, if finances are a problem here, then I won't even say that I want it, is what Aspyn was trying to protect and shield her parents from. If it's going to be an issue, I don't want it to be an issue. So I don't even want to say that I want it.
I'll just pick another place.
I'll go someplace else because that's going to be the easier way to go. So that was, again, just another insight into the kind of personality that had developed for her.
Out of parentification.
Yes. And yeah, the shielding of her parents' emotions and prioritizing comforting them over herself.
Well, we all know she ends up here, so that is the good news. It would be really, really frustrating to have to constantly do things like this with a big group of people and you can't get straight answers from anyone. That would frustrate me the most out of the whole thing.
Yeah, because Kody then was trying to throw it to the wives. Oh, the wives need to have an input on this. But then most of the wives are like, no, if she wants the place, then get the place. So then Kody's looking around hoping that Robin would then chime in to be like, well, maybe we'll think about it and see. Maybe the deposit's too much. Who knows?
Maybe you can stop spending on QVC for 6 months.
For 6 minutes.
6 minutes. 6 minutes. You're right. I really overestimated there.
You'll be good. You should be good.
We are moving on. It is a big day for Meri now. From Aspyn's big day to Meri's big day. It is the opening of the B&B, which she has decided to call Lizzie's Heritage Inn. And the whole family is going to support her, even though they have absolutely zero idea what she has planned because they have continued to show no interest in what she's doing there.
Nobody asked. Meri didn't tell them. So some of the wives are finally coming around to this excitement, but it's a blind excitement because they have no idea what they're walking into. They weren't that excited to ask ahead of time to know what to prepare for.
No.
But Janelle is saying that she's finally coming around to the excitement side of this.
Little too late. Too little too late.
Yeah, Christine's a little, Kody's just been bouncing around to 4 different houses, 4 different closets.
He is in rare form because he cannot find his clothes.
But what will I wear?
He's going on for multiple minutes about how his socks disappear, his phone chargers get stolen. Nothing's ever in one house. All his underwear is at Robin's house. All his socks are at Christine's house. There's nothing at Meri's house.
I blanked out while watching this, and then it teleported me back to when we interviewed Peyton, and he was talking about his cousin's granola for like a good 5 minutes. And it was at the end of the interview, and I was already kind of running out of gas. And that is exactly the same mental state that it took me back to. It just snapped me right into it.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, what the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass f- So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Holiday magic is in the air, and DSW's got all the shoes to make your season extra merry. Believe, you've got parties to attend and lists to check twice, so DSW is taking care of the details, like gifts to make their eyes all aglow. Styles that bring joy to your world. Brands everyone wants, like UGG, Nike, Birkenstock, and more. And deals to make your budget bright. Find the perfect shoes for you and yours at a DSW store near you or DSW.com.
We all have dreams. Dream home renovations, dream vacations, or sending our kids to their dream colleges. But finding straightforward ways to turn those dreams into realistic goals, that's where things get tricky. Merrill understands that. That's why, with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. And having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill is with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Bombas presents unsolicited gifting advice. Number 1, if they say not to get them anything, get them something. 2, underwear is a great gift, just not for your boss. And 3, those absurdly soft Bombas socks and slippers you've been eyeing for yourself, they'll love those. And the fact that for every item you purchase, another is donated to someone who needs it, they'll love that even more.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
Yeah, I really don't think that we need to ever interview Kody Brown after having interviewed Peyton.
It was basically the same thing. Yeah.
That was enough of the experience.
How classic of an ADHD example was it that Kody was blaming his wives for taking all of his things, not that he himself had probably brought those things over, left them there, and forgot they existed. It ended up in a different pile. His piles are houses in the cul-de-sac.
I also don't know, how do you not just have like an emergency drawer where there's just extra socks and extra underwear? Unopened packages. Well, maybe we'll wash them.
Who's the laundry wife?
Who's the laundry wife?
Is that what happens? He has to take all of his laundry?
I think so.
Dirty clothes from Robin's house because Robin's
she's not going to wash them.
No way. Whose house is he taking them to?
Meri's. No one else is doing laundry over there. That has to be what's happening. The washer is always full at these other houses.
How upset would you be if you were Meri and you were just constantly doing laundry? Wouldn't you catch on to that, though, eventually?
Just be constantly doing Kody's laundry, even though he never comes to your house.
It's just me. It's just me here. Why am I doing all this laundry? What is going on?
No one is on the same page about getting to this place. The opening is at 4 p.m. Robin is already in the car.
Which is, okay, credit where credit is due. Robin is in the car. She's ready to go.
She is attempting to do the right thing, which is to show up early in an attempt to say, hey, Meri, I'd like to help you with the things that I never asked about.
Or she just wanted to make sure it was on camera that she was in the car. She was ready to go. And then if they are late, it wasn't her fault because she's just a passenger and there's nothing else she can do. But yeah, just going through Robin's quick interaction with the camera people in her car when she's hoping they can get there early to help Meri set up, and then cut to Christine in her bathroom who's like, I don't know, it's 9:30 in the morning. This thing's not till 4. We got like 8 hours to get there. We might stop off for lunch. We might take a couple detours here and there. We got all day, man. What are you talking about? Of course we're going to be there on time. Zero thought into maybe Meri needs help with stuff. Maybe Meri would need, some assistance in preparation.
That's her fault for not communicating her needs to us.
And that's how they're going to punish her, is to show up. I've only been invited as a guest, so that's how I will be arriving.
Kody also does not care. I mean, obviously, but also he throws out a theory that the stress of buying the house has affected his relationship with Meri.
Is that what we're blaming the status of the relationship on? Because I think we've gone through several iterations now.
I'm pretty sure we have a number of things that we could point to. The house was not the breaking point.
The house wasn't even there. I mean, she's been talking about it for 27 years, so since before they got married. But I don't think that was the sole reason. Maybe that's just Kody doing some soul searching. And he's like, what is it between me and Meri's relationship that goes all the way back, that's always been there as part of the relationship?
It's this house.
Is it the house? Is that where all of our problems are? Is this the source of all of my marital
It is haunted. Do you think that it's taken possession of Meri's soul?
Maybe it's Kody's soul.
It's trying to suck him into it so they could stay in this house for eternity.
Trying to suck some of his socks out of the cul-de-sac.
Well, they get there. We don't know what time it is. That's unclear. But Leon and Mosby are there, and so is Isabel. And that means it is time for Meri to lead her first tour through the house.
I don't know why we kept getting the ISO shots of Kody explaining all these things, because it's just everything from Kody's point of view and his vantage point and his weird filter and spin that he puts on everything, where he was talking about this beautiful articulation about how Meri went above and beyond and would have squashed and pushed anybody out of her way to make this happen. And he really respects that about her. What?
But also simultaneously despises that
revolting.
Aspect of her personality.
It's terrible. So just, she's upset about his lack of involvement in the process. And so that's why he realized that. So now he's getting so invested in the grand opening. That's why I'm excited to be here today.
He's not excited.
He's not excited. He just wants to cut the ribbon.
Shall we talk about Sarah's room? That is Meri's great-great-grandma's room. This is the haunted room in the house. and they show us an old photograph on the wall. And there were multiple things that were alarming about it. First, Bonnie has time traveled to the 19th century. Is that not Bonnie in the picture?
That was Bonnie's glasses.
They were Bonnie's glasses.
At least her glasses. Same glasses.
How did they get back there?
Same frames. No. She just went up to...
touched a rock and she ended up somewhere else.
She opened a drawer in Sarah's room and they were just there. And she was like, wow, it's my exact prescription. That's odd.
She just found them in there?
Just found them in there. They found her.
But who else is in the photograph?
Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
Immediately to our left to Bonnie's right.
If you have to go back and look, if you don't remember the picture.
I'm telling you, that's Willem Dafoe.
Could not be more accurate.
I'm telling you.
Meri, are you related to him? If not, there is an uncanny resemblance.
It was pretty apparent of what was going on there.
I even note that I was hungry because there were a lot of cinnamon rolls in this episode because apparently Parowan is world renowned for its cinnamon rolls, great cinnamon rolls of the West.
Who knew?
I need to know more about it.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what put them on the map. But Meri's getting everything up and running. She's even impressing herself at this point. She's realizing it's pretty spectacular what's taken place so far. But she's learned as she's talking about this more with the family, she has to start throwing some credit to God in order to appear humble, because last week she kept saying that she did this all by herself, and that was really off-putting.
Inaccurate.
Well, it seemed very self-centric because it was, and she was the only person who did it, and she did it by herself and didn't really have help from the family. But they don't like when that's pointed out. So how can we say this, that it was all me, but not just me? So yeah, let's throw some credit to God, I guess. That'll help.
That upset Robin or confused her, because then she started down this path of a very long word salad about how this is one of Meri's homes, but it's not her home with them. But she could stay at this home whenever she wants to, even though it's not home.
And it's always going to be a home. Because it's one of your homes. It's not your home with us, but it will be if you're renting it to family or if you're letting them stay there for free sometimes too, like when we come into town.
Like, we weren't even talking about anything remotely close to that. And that's what we got out of her on the back of God help make this happen. Thank you for the input, Robin. She's speaking up a lot in these confessionals too.
She's got a lot to say.
There'll be a lot more to look forward to.
She's got a lot to say.
While this is all happening, Kody is sitting in a chair in the front room and he's reflecting on the circles of eternity, which does not get a lot of engagement or interest from Meri because we know she despises the circle.
Yeah, she does not like the circles.
You think that's where her deep hatred of circles came from?
Probably from Kody talking about circles of eternity.
Subconscious.
Way too much. Yeah, I liked that Meri was really putting the emphasis on this place being open for business. And I feel like that was kind of a veiled threat to Kody as well, that she is open for business.
She is, but then also they're doing their own independent thing of one another. And Kody's starting to think, do we really ever need to merge our lives back together?
Yeah, we got some really questionable relationship advice from Kody where you need fulfillment in and out of relationships. His relationship with Meri, mostly out. That's where he gets his fulfillment. And so they're kind of both on their own, doing their own thing. And it seems to be working pretty good. So maybe let's not rock the boat.
Did he sit in this chair the entire day? Because we had Meri filter in with Mosby and listen to him talk about circles. And now Leon gets into the door of this room and Kody's like, hold on, I want to talk to you.
He was like mumbling
because
to himself.
He didn't want... I thought he was trying to be secretive, even though he has a mic pack on him.
No, it's a hot mic situation because just because you're whispering doesn't mean that the mic's not working anymore. Yes, we hear what you're saying because did you see how fast that cameraman started whipping around? Because he probably had his headphones on and he's like, where the fuck is Kody? I need to get a shot of this. What is he saying?
It was a real Jinx moment.
Yes, it was. whispering to Leon about how much he fucking hates Nevada and how he wants to move to Utah because he's having such a good time here today. Kody is the type of man who will go on vacation and think to himself, I should move here. Because he thinks that every day here is going to be like vacation.
That is how they got to Vegas, isn't it?
Probably.
Remember, he went on vacation with Christine.
Yes.
And then shortly thereafter, they decided that they were going to move to Vegas to escape the police investigation.
They had to flee an alleged police investigation at this point.
But he had a destination all picked out based on where their last vacation was.
But it's just not enough. He wants more.
He is kicking around the idea not only of moving back to Utah, but making a show of it by running for office.
Oh, man, Leon's face. Leon's face.
By far, the best part of the whole thing was how Leon's face very clearly said, that's a really fucking stupid thing you just said.
I feel like Kody saw the mayor at the ribbon ceremony and he was like, man, this guy's old. I could probably beat him.
He was inspired. It was like the mayor of Whoville, and Kody was like, that is who I want to be when I grow up.
That is the type of mayor that Kody would probably be. He would be very similar to the mayor of Whoville.
Just delivering plates of fudge to people.
Fudge judge. Fruitcake. A la la.
One little problem. The wives don't want to move there. Christine in particular, completely terrified of the idea of ever moving back to Utah.
I just thought it was weird how, we got a couple of classic Kody rants too about how he's being marginalized. I always just thought it was very interesting how Kody wants to live and move to places that are very accepting of him, but then he ultimately doesn't want to accept anybody else. Kind of interesting. He just wants to be the exception to everyone else.
Just let me live the way I want to live.
But you should probably, tone it down, what you're doing. I think Christine just has a terrible association. That's why she is the biggest proponent. She does not want to go back to her life in Lehigh because she was a doormat.
I think there's something to that.
She was a prisoner there, basically, and she has now kind of found her own path in Vegas and is way more self-reliant. I think she's had a lot of growth in Vegas, and she sees that as a step back and not in the right direction for her.
I would also like to bring up that we now know that Christine was contemplating divorce already at this point in time. So maybe there are other reasons why moving does not really seem to be like something she would want to do.
When Kody's talking about his quiet moments that he shares with his wives about his desire to move out of Vegas, does he just mean Robin? Because it seems like the only person he's been talking to about this is Robin.
I feel like Meri has no idea, because then why were they giving her such a hard time about buying a place in Utah if he wants to move to Utah? And also, why would she not want to move to Utah if she literally just bought a house and is running a business in Utah?
Why would that be a problem for anyone involved?
I feel like he did not speak to her about that.
I don't think he's talking to Meri about this. Janelle doesn't really seem to have an idea that he's thinking about moving, and then Christine is against it, according to Kody. We didn't actually hear that from Christine. So,
Robin all for it.
Well, Robin hasn't voiced her opinion on camera because she won't. But you could probably assume that it aligns with Kody's assessment of the situation here.
The biggest moment of this episode is when the mayor brings out the big scissors and they cut the ribbon in front of the B&B.
It's always the big scissors. Don't run with those, though.
Why did Kody help Meri cut the ribbon?
Because it's a chance to jump in front of some cameras and have a bunch of people clap at him.
That's good. He did absolutely nothing to help her, yet it does make it seem as though you were involved if you're going to grab the other side of the scissor, doesn't it?
Excuse me. Well, it depends on who Meri is scissoring, I suppose.
Just walk into them sometimes.
I loved how Meri casually mentions in passing that basically the only negativity that she's heard in this entire process, when she has explained the situation of trying to acquire this house, use it as a business, the only negativity she's ever received was from Kody. But then he's the dude who's cutting the ribbon with her.
Does she forget all the negativity from the other wives? I feel like Janelle in particular was very negative about the house.
Maybe it was just like the family. Yeah, in general. I think she was saying it was Kody. That was the note that I jotted down. So there must have been something
it could
that
be
she
inaccurate.
said. I could have veiled something or reinterpreted something that she was saying, but it sounded like most of what she was doing was positively reinforced by other people, but not so much Kody and the wives.
Their marriage is over. Can we just get that out in the open? Because they're going to take a moment to walk out onto the porch.
Wow. Yeah, this was something special.
Kody said something about how sunsets must be really great here, and they walk out onto the front porch and they're looking out into the distance, and Cody's, I guess, imagining what a sunset would look like because it's not actually sunset.
No, it's sun is setting.
Right, it's kind of early sunset.
He's got his leather jacket on. He's ready to go take a look out on the porch here. He's mansplaining sunsets to her because the house is facing south, which will give you a partial view of the sunset. And then once the summer solstice takes place, then that will move that over here, and that'll clear up the line of sight there where you'll really be able to get a full glimpse of the horizon there as it sets behind the mountains and stuff. Just look at those mountains.
This is how you knew, because there was just dead silence.
It was a painfully awkward full minute of silence, just staring at the sunset and not enjoying each other's company.
No, and Meri's clutching her cup, and she's just waiting for someone to break the silence. And so she takes a deep breath and says, well, thanks for coming.
Which in Midwest translates to, it's time for you to leave. And like, she hit him with the heavy sigh and welp. Thanks for coming, which is borderline. It's like right before, okay, get the fuck out. It is time for you to leave. Take your leave.
It got more confusing from there because then Kody starts telling her about how proud he is of her.
Well, that's how Meri perceived it. She's not entirely sure if that's what he was saying. And he never actually said he was proud of her.
Okay, you're right. He tells her that she needed the confidence of being able to do something without him, which actually does sound like a backhanded compliment.
It was very much so. And that's why Meri is very confused. She
pauses and says, I don't get it.
I don't understand what you are saying right now. And I think what Kody's saying in a roundabout way here is that you did it alone, Meri, and I made sure that you did it alone by not helping, but I also complained when you did ask for help because you needed to do this alone.
Can I just say, we give Meri a hard time for having stuck around in this relationship for so long, but the way she is constantly being gaslit, she doesn't even know if the sky is blue anymore, because one minute he's telling her that she needs to go do something alone for her own like self-growth, and then he's telling her that it's a problem that she's doing things alone, and then he's proud of her again for it. So no wonder she's really confused all the time.
It would have taken me a year to decipher this conversation if I was involved in it. I would have been so confused myself. Because, yeah, he just keeps going back and forth, oscillating between I'm so sick of you and I'm so proud of you. And she can't tell based on their history and the other cumulative conversations that have taken place. She is very, very confused.
Next episode, Aspyn goes wedding dress shopping, but after the fun, Kody drops a huge bombshell. With a weird whiteboard presentation, he tells his wives they need to sell their houses and move. Janelle digs her heels in and refuses to do this for her kids.
It's a Seattle ladies trip and Kody's Kinko's presentation. That'll be a big one.
Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Be sure to chat with us about the episode on our Discord channel by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next time.
The new Boost Mobile network is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for life.
That sounds like a threat.
Then how do you think we should say it?
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
Until your ultimate demise.
What if we just say forever?
Okay.
$25 a month, forever.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.